Welcome to the Women Inspire Aspire podcast. In this episode, I talk to Aparna Jaishankar about storytelling.
Hi, Aparna. Welcome to the podcast. Thanks for making time to appear in the podcast. How are you doing today?
All good, all good. Thank you so much for having me, Venkat. It's a pleasure.
Wonderful. So, I wanted to talk about your storytelling journey because you have been a storyteller for a long time, and I have heard you multiple times. And I was quite interested to know how your journey started and how you got to the point right now you are in.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So obviously, academically, it's I didn't start off as being a storyteller. I did my master's in social work. I'm a gold medalist from Bharatiya University, and I did my master's post-graduation diploma in HR from PhD College of Arts and Science. I started my career in the HR world. Was in the corporate world for close to about almost a decade. And then at a point, I felt that I needed to take a break. I left the corporate world when things were going well for me, but I left and I decided that I would give myself 6 months to explore and do things that I couldn't do earlier. So I went for pottery classes. I learned music. I went for dance classes. I went for painting classes. I went for jewelry making classes. Everywhere and failed miserably in most of the things. And I had that's when I realized that perhaps the corporate world is what my education and my skill, what I've been trained for, maybe that's what I'm meant to do. As a last fling with the arts, if you may call it, I did a theater workshop. So my deal was I would do the theater workshop and then start applying once again. So I did the theater workshop and I fell in love with the presentation of stories. So that's when I got into theater. After being trained, then I started the company that trained our batch. They had an assignment in a school. So this is with Avam. So they had an assignment with NPS, and I started teaching there, teaching theater to children, and I loved it. And while teaching theater for children, what I loved is the script analysis and the character analysis that we were doing. And from there, I went into and I started dabbling in storytelling as well. And that's how it is. It's Bangalore Storytelling Society is one of the places where the seed of storytelling also was put it. So I also started my journey there, and started exploring stories. And before I knew it, this was my calling, the sweet spot of theater, storytelling, and HR.
Right. And the rest is history, as they say. Now, tell us about the script analysis, and there is one more thing you mentioned. I forgot.
I said character. Yeah. So, okay. So what happens is that when you work with children, it's true for everybody, but when you work with children, you have to break it down into bite-sized bits. So it's one thing to tell a child that you're in a play, this is your dialogue, you have to learn it, come and now say it like this. And I felt that it was not right to tell a child that this is how your voice should be. You have to intonate this way. Rather than that, I broke down the whole story for them, and this is where your part is. And we did the whole script based on, okay, now what would happen if the whole story were from this particular character's point of view. And from there they went into the depth of, okay, how tall do you think this character is? So if the person is tall, when on stage, how will you be standing? Will you ever, so if you want to pick something, how are you going to bend? How are you going to look at other people? If you're very tall, then wouldn't you be looking down at others? So how do you maintain eye contact? So naturally, organically, it grew for the kids. And I just loved that bit because I love the backstory of things, even in the stories of why did a particular character do. So I love the backstories, and that's where my love for storytelling also came.
Yeah, great. And it's quite interesting to know about the theater perspective of storytelling because when we story tell in the society, we don't usually,
Yes.
look at these things. But when it
No.
comes to backstage and when we engage people uh, with all these actions and things like that, it becomes really interesting. Where I was coming from is, so do you have any kind of specialization within this? So you mentioned that you do it just with children. Do you have any theme on which you do this on children, or is it generic
Uh,
to?
no, 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 no. So it's been close to a decade now. So I work with people of all age groups, all walks in life, and with all genres. Because if I'm calling myself a professional, I need to be adept with all skills. It's very difficult to sit with just one set of skills. Having said that, I definitely do have my favorite sweet spots. It's not like I'm okay. I mean, like I do everything, but the certain things are my sweet spots. Now, so how I work with is, yes, with children. Um, Storytelling with children for me changes with age group and the setting. It Where I am telling the story is as important as whom I'm telling the story to. The way I would tell a story, the kinds of stories I would choose in, say, a school would be very different from a performing space, would be very different from, say, an apartment, would be very different to, a general gathering of, motley group of, sometimes you have 2-year-olds to 7-year-olds in one of those festivals where you really don't know what kind of a crowd you'll have. So for children, that does play a very important role. Have I answered anywhere close to what you've asked?
Yes, yes, sure. I was curious because you have been storytelling for so long, and
Yeah.
what I would like to know is that you might have got yourself into some challenges or some tight spots. Like for example,
Yeah.
nobody shows up, or there are too
Yeah.
many
Oh, yeah.
people.
Oh, that happened. Oh, I once had a show, 35 tickets, and I was so excited. And the performance place called me up and they said it's already 35, and usually it climbs on the day of the performance. So here I'm revving myself up, I'm rehearsing, and I'm imagining what the stage would be like. I'm there 1.5 hours before the show because I want to be, zone in.
Hmm.
And Bangalore weather being Bangalore weather, it poured that night. One of those cloudburst kind of rains.
Oh yeah.
It
Hmm.
poured and poured and poured, and this event space was in Indranagar, so traffic jam, like it was choco block, like right into Inner Ring Road this side, up to the other side, CV Ramnagar. So it was just choco block everywhere, and I sat alone in my sari waiting for people to come. It was a little washout.
Yeah. It's
That has
really tough.
happened.
Hmm.
That has happened. Sometimes I've gone and see this was then times when, just after COVID. What happened was people were scared to come. Some people were desperate to come. There was once when I had one person for the show. That guy came 45 minutes before the show.
Hmm.
And there were 7 tickets sold, which was a big deal during COVID times. I mean, this is
Yeah.
just the world had opened, obviously, but just about it. We're not yet like, even the seating, we had made it in such a way that we're not in close proximity, flexible seating, that kind of with sanitizers. And we had told the audience to wear a mask, everything, with a temperature check and all of that. So 7 tickets was not bad. One person came 45 minutes before the show, and that's it. Now, this event space is in Indranagar, and this person has come from Hebbal. Now, I cannot turn the guy
Wow.
away. That, you know what? I don't have an audience. It's not fair on that one person. And for me, for him, he was mortified because he thought it's going to be now, it's going to be a Q&A. So don't worry. So I performed for one person that day, full 1 hour.
Wow. Was that a dialogue or?
It was, yeah. So we did, no, you're right. So we did delve so I did smaller stories so that it wasn't so intimidating. And then we were talking about, a little more personal. So I do a lot of shows on the Mahabharata. So in the Mahabharata, what I also do is I do a lot of improv. As in, I'm familiar with various stories in the Mahabharata. I know a lot of themes. So I generally ask the audience. So I pick stories depending on where they are from and what is their experience. So, if I know somebody is let's say in a painting, has a painting background, then I would pick up stories that are there, which is nestled with the weavers or sculptures, so that it resonates with them a lot more. So that way I could, improv the whole performance for him, and hopefully, yeah. But I think it was good because he did come for two other shows, but this time he did not enter. He waited for the other audience member to come, and then he came.
So yeah, so we have faced many such situations before in our storytelling sessions, right? When the audience don't
Yes,
show up.
it
So,
happen. Yes, it is.
so one of the things that I observed is that there is a shortage of youngsters who are coming to these storytelling sessions. I don't know why. I don't see youth coming to storytelling these days. Is it because of the Instagram and social media and everything, or what? What do you think is the reason?
Actually, no, I wouldn't say that. See, Bangalore, I mean, and this is a very Bangalore specific answer that I'm giving. Bangalore has so many, 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 many options. You pick up any weekend, you have so many stand-up comedy specials happening. And then you have so many, and I'm just talking about the art world, music jams, painting, mindfulness, book clubs, heritage walks. So from weekend to weekend, there are youngsters who are clamoring for these kind of events. Why don't they come for storytelling? They come for performances. When there is a performance, they do come. But when it comes to expressing themselves, a lot of them prefer to go for a pottery or for salsa. I mean, more physical, arts, wherein rather than but rather than storytelling. Um, it's an See, there are times when for a Mahabharata performance, I have had a bunch of college kids come, just like that on a whim. There'll be about it's just that the whole group comes. So you sometimes the group hits the sweet spot. That's all. The way since there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of marketing also that needs to go for it, and storytelling is still in its lacks the marketing muscle of theater or stand-up.
Mm.
Theater is a group. So, you're holding each other and you're going. So one of the reasons why, you need to be connected with storytellers as this thing is, hey, I'm performing here, I'm doing something here. So immediately you're like, okay, if not anything, I'll come and cheer you. Or, I'm coming and sitting in the audience and later telling you, hey, you know what? This particular bit was really good, but this particular bit that's the only way you can help each other. Uh, that's the problem. If you're doing a group activity, stand up, even though it's a solo performance, so stand up is always with a team. Whereas storytellers, you will find them, they will put their own props, then, I mean, whatever background they want to put, they'll decide the music, they'll play it themselves.
Ah.
And that's why, the thing is, you have only so much of steam, and you have a perspective. Everybody has a perspective of dealing with something. So it's going to be only one way. If you have a large team, the way a marketing person thinks versus the way a performer thinks is going to be very, very different.
Mm. And why do you think a performer cannot be a marketer?
I don't think a performer cannot be a marketer. All performers are great marketers. I'm not saying that they're not. What I'm saying is that marketing is a technical skill, and not everybody has it. And you have to be very agile. As performers are agile, but as marketers, it is a technical skill. So either you upgrade yourself or you hire somebody, or just go with the wave, and that's all will happen. I mean,
Yeah.
it's you need to. I mean, yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Yes, and you brought out a lot of points that I really appreciate on the on the reasons why we don't see much of the youth. If you can give some tips to people who want to have storytelling as their profession, or who would like to have storytelling as the profession.
Yeah, okay. So that I would break it into two parts. One is storytelling as a career and storytelling in your career. They're two very different things. And I think both are equally important. Uh, so what the work that I do are in two parts. One is storytelling, helping people have storytelling in their career. So what happens is that I work with in the education sector primarily. I mean, with teachers and in the classroom. It is very important to have multiple ways of teaching children, and storytelling is a brilliant tool. For college students, the whole concept of getting into colleges, your interviews, your essays, nothing but storytelling. What are you telling? What is it that you want the person to know about you? And to be able to differentiate between that, that's what I help. These are all places where it is necessary to learn the art of storytelling. If corporates 200%, if you want to sync between, it's all very nice when you set up a company and you have these lofty goals. These are the values of our company. Our company strives for this. All that is beautiful. But then what is the narrative of the company and what is the narrative of the team? And do they sync? Most teams are dysfunctional because their narratives of individuals to team and team to organization, the narrative there is not in sync. And that is where the storytelling as a tool comes into being. The other thing across the board that I would say why storytelling is important is also the kind of information overload that is available today. It is necessary to be able to sift through that. As a storyteller, getting stories is like, I mean, like people will give you all big, particularly if you're into Indic stories, which I am. I love stories of Indian origin, and that is history, that is mythology, uh, because I really believe that there's a lot of what do you say? There's a lot of it's like interpreting the story or manipulating the story to your own narrative. So any information that you get is a manipulated narrative. And as a storyteller, once you work, I think like a storyteller, you will learn to look at things from multiple perspectives and therefore, hopefully, to some extent, debunk the wheat from the chaff kind of a thing. If you want to become a storyteller, and when you say become a storyteller, I'm talking about becoming a performative storyteller, which means you're on stage and you're telling stories to people as your profession. Now, for that, I think storytelling is one art form which requires you to hone your skills through multiple art forms again. So there is no one way to do it. You need to find out, it sounds very lofty. It sounds very cliched and page 3, like I need to find my voice. But the basic thing about that is what genre or what kind of storytelling suits you. Like some people I know, I mean, like I've heard you tell Venkat, very few people can do stories of facts the way you do it, right? It is a structure of it is a sequence of data that you have converted into a story. So that is one variety of story. That is one strength. So every person who wants to become a performative storyteller, needs to fundamentally figure out what works for them. What works? There is no other. It is like swimming. You can read about the 5 different strokes that are there in the water. You have to jump in. Water has to go inside your nose. You have to fail, bomb, and learn and move on. And that's the only way. You have to keep doing it for you to realize, okay, this is what I can do, I cannot do, I want to do. Right? Once that happens, there are certain other things that are absolutely essential for a performative storyteller. It is because you are the product. Therefore, it is body and voice. and I'm separating both. You have to take care of your voice. You have to have your, whatever voice exercises that are required. You have to be very, very, you have to be very conscientious of what suits your voice or not. Because again, the Indian art form of oral story, we don't follow the Western pattern. The Western pattern is very scripted. And you ask somebody, they're telling a story, you pause them, they will start from the sentence exactly verbatim. Whereas Indian storytellers, as a used to being very, very spontaneous. Therefore, so you will have people who sing, you will have people who change their voices. You need to know your strengths, and you need to know where you're coming from. Body, why? You are the product on stage. So you have to be, I'm not saying that you have to look good. That's not at all what I'm saying. But you have to be very aware of what your body can and cannot do. So if this is my stage, and if my audience is sitting on the floor, now obviously it is better if I sit a little raised, that's enough. However, I have to know whether I'm capable of sitting cross-legged on the floor for an hour. Does my body allow that? If not, then what am I going to do? You have to be very aware and in sync of, what works for you. The kinds of stories that you choose, that's a whole different this thing of yeah, it just happens. I'm not saying that there is no rule book for it. There is, but you have to try it for it to work. uh, the other thing that I would say is, please, if you're a professional storyteller, if you're a storyteller, and particularly if you're a professional storyteller, please do research your stories. Do not pick up, if you're telling me a story straight off a book, I would rather read the book. What is your contribution? If you're telling an authored tale, make it an authored tale, make it yours. What is your contribution to that story? If you're picking up a story from, make sure it is researched. Where does the story come from? Is it authentic? Is it even true? Because you can find Insta Reel is enough to provide you, you know, tidbits to find your story. But I mean, like, the plus of it is that you can access any library across the world today and research. The minus of it, you can also decide to just go through Insta Reels and decided, okay, and everything is the same. Like recently I saw something like, but Ganesha, because Ganesha festival just happened, but Ganesha is actually the brain of, if you do a neurosurgery, and that's exactly how a human brain looks like. I am not a neurosurgeon, I do not know, but that intrigued me. I started looking up, but I have not found any neurosurgeon saying that, this is what is the, anatomy of the brain, and it does look like an elephant with a trunk. So yeah, so you need to be careful of that. If you're a professional storyteller, you also need to be very, very, very conscientious of your audience. You have to respect the audience. If you are going to a crowd, you have to understand the sensibilities of the audience. And today's audience are they absorb a lot, they have read a lot, they're very aware, and the chances of offending somebody is also equally high. So be careful. I mean, like, sometimes inadvertently it happens. Sometimes, for the audience is overreactive, but you need to factor in. So when you craft your story, you need to, are you telling it for a purpose, or are you telling it to excite that, or incite people? That's You need to keep that in mind every time you stand up and perform. What are the other things I would tell a professional storyteller? Just go. Just keep doing it. There is no other way to become a storyteller. You just have to get up, stand up, do it. Learn from it, redo it. That's how it happens.
As with every profession.
As with every profession. Exactly. As with every profession. Totally agree with that. Like I remember, when I just started my career, I was working in an HR outsourcing company in the comp and benefits department. And the head of the division was a CA. And it's literal grunt work of looking at 50, 60 numbers and adding it. And she would torture us and make us actually sit and physically. I mean, that time, of course, we had Tally, we had enough software and Excel and everything was there. But she would, all us make us physically sit and calculate. The reason being that unless you do that, the moment you look at a number, you will not think that, okay, there is something off. It cannot be this big or this small. There is something off, and you will investigate. So when you're dealing with numbers, you should know. How do you build intuition? You can put all the macros you want, but that intuition comes only with practice.
So grunt work everywhere, because I was also trying to read some documents today and I found it really difficult to go through such huge documents just to, it's a terms and conditions document and I cannot avoid
Oh
it.
You have to read the fine print.
Absolutely. And they have 4 or 5 documents like that saying this is, this is the annexure A, this is the annexure B, and then you have these terms and conditions and you have whatnot. And so wonderful points. Thanks so much for sharing all your thoughts to the audience and making us all enthusiastic storytellers in our own accord, right? So we all need to
Yes.
storytell, to sell, to negotiate, to do whatever we want in life, because one of
And also I would like to add, what are also the stories that you tell yourself. That's also very important. What are you
now,
telling yourself?
now
So
you are
craft
scaring me.
yourself. It's important because that will come out in your storytelling.
God, now I have to think on my back and see what I'm thinking. Okay, so thank you so much. And would the audience be able to connect with you in case if they want some inputs from you or they would like to
Absolutely.
engage with you? So
Always.
are you available in LinkedIn or Twitter, or where are you available?
Definitely not Twitter. I'm available on Insta. My name is Aparna Jaishankar, and my handle is also Aparna Jaishankar. I don't have a fancier handle than that. Where else? You can, I mean, of course, Facebook is there, but I don't think anybody connects on Facebook anymore. So, yes, LinkedIn, of course, I'm there. That's also a cool way to connect. But most people, I figured in the last year and a half, the even job performance opportunities, general connects all happen through Insta only.
Wow, okay. Great. So do you have any questions for me as the host?
uh, what is your idea of storytelling, and what is your favorite part of storytelling?
My idea has always been expressing myself. Um,
Huh.
and so that's why I'm doing this podcast. I'm writing in LinkedIn and I'm doing storytelling and all this thing. One of the things that I want to do is to roam over all the places in Bangalore and try to write poems wherever I am in a
Oh,
cafe setting or a park setting or something like that. Just go there and
huh.
whatever comes to my mind, I want to write down and things like that. I have it in my agenda. But you might have heard my stories a couple of times. The first
Yes.
one was, I think you were not there. Lavanya was there. Actually, it was Ravindranath Tagore's story
Uh-huh.
on the sati practice. It's a beautiful story. He has converted a 300-page novel into a 3-page story. That's amazing. That's where I get
Amazing.
the inspiration from.
Huh.
And you know my style. It's a very formatted. You can't call it as scripted, but it's the way of delivery is very serious. it's and it's my inspiration is to bring out as much nuances and facts, as you said, as possible, to give color to the story that I'm telling, so that the audience can,
Not just that, it's easier to remember and recall a story, even facts when it's told in a story.
yeah.
It's beautiful the way you do it.
Okay, so I hope that I would get more opportunities to storytell. I also want to be a corporate storyteller, um,
Uh-huh.
which I want to add in my LinkedIn profile sometime. Uh, in my technical LinkedIn profile, by the way, I have two LinkedIn profiles. So
And
one is
and
an
what is your idea of a corporate storyteller?
as you said, there is a gap between the corporate vision and mission and the how the employees look at it or the team looks at it, and there is a gap, and so there is always this need for connect between the board and the CXOs and the team that is actually executing the project. And
Huh.
so the story needs to be delivered to the people who are actually doing the project. This is especially true in software security. We
Okay.
talk a lot about software security. Oh, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to use this tool. But at the end of the day, if the people don't understand why they are doing it and what is in
Huh.
it for me,
Correct.
they won't do it, because there is so many things that they need to take care of, especially a developer. They have to take care of the frameworks, they have to take care of the programming language, they have to take care of dealing with testers like me. there is
Huh.
there is
Hmm.
there is so much of things that needs to be done. In addition to that, if you also say security, performance,
Hmm.
accessibility and all that, they are
Yeah.
not going to have the bandwidth to look into all these things. So it needs an approach which you need to storytell. Absolutely. I was talking
Oh,
to one of the tech gurus in software security, Adam Shostak, and we had a podcast on the tech channel of mine.
okay.
He told that the only way you can convey the seriousness of software security to the people who are doing it is to um, make them gel with whatever contemporary happenings that are happening right now. Like there is a vulnerability and there is a violation somewhere. So many computers got affected, and you need to take care of these things because
Hmm.
200,000 computers were affected and all the airlines were shut down.
Oh
And
God.
it really happened.
Yeah, it did happen. I know it did happen. But I mean, that's what it is. Somewhere something doesn't work, and then the domino effect is.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's basically a little bit of care they should have taken in testing that particular update before they release it to so many computers. So what they
Absolutely.
did was actually they released it without testing, and that went
Uh,
on a automatic update mode to many computers around the world. And
uh,
the effect, everybody knew what happened, and the effect was humongous, and there was so much
correct.
of passengers who were
Lost.
stuck in the airports. Hospitals were left without computers. So these so it's so this is where the storytelling is so important, where we need to raise the awareness as part of the process in the security, to make sure that people understand the seriousness of what they are doing on a daily basis.
Huh.
Yeah. So it comes as part of the team education. We can call process, methodologies, ISO this, ISO that, and all that. But
Yeah,
these are all the things that needs to be told as stories, so that people can gel well with the real stuff, rather than producing them loads and loads of documents and say, hey, do this.
correct.
Yeah. So yeah, I really look forward to that. I hope that I get opportunities on that. But I'm pretty good at tech. I hope that I'm good at storytelling. So mixing that would be a great opportunity. Thanks a lot,
Thank you
Aparna,
so much, Venkat.
and I look forward to engage with you in the future too. And I hope that people enjoy this podcast and engage with you in LinkedIn as well as your favorite Insta.
Yeah, will do.
Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.
That was a great podcast with Aparna Jaishankar. Please subscribe to this channel and follow it for more awesome podcasts. Opinions expressed by the guests in this podcast are their own. The host or the sponsors of the podcast do not condone the opinions expressed by the guests or the actions arising out of those opinions. Any decisions or actions that the listeners might take as a result of listening to this podcast must be based on their own judgment and will be at their own risk. The podcast host or their sponsors will not be held responsible for the consequences of any actions and or decisions taken as a result of any content in this podcast.